Poppin' B. Purpok here, and welcome back to another episode of Race the Ramen, the show where I attempt to review something unscripted and the amount of time it takes to boil an instant ramen. And today, we'll be taking a look at Morbius, available now in a variety of hilarious formats. Alright, we're going to start the timer right now. Okay, so, Morbius. I have a feeling most of you watching this will know what Morbius is at this point. If not the movie itself, then the many, many memes that have come in its wake since release. Morbius is a Sony-created sort of expansion-style movie meant to add on to the existing current Spider-Man cinematic universe in the same way that the Venom movies with Tom Hardy were meant to be. And they got Jared Leto to play the famous Spider-Man character, Morbius the Living Vampire. And this movie is fucking awful and a hilarious joke. Like, I can barely keep up any semblance of, like... I can't keep a straight face, okay? Morbius is so bad, and it's so funny to me just how much people have made a spectacle of its failure. Like, it was released in theaters twice. It only came back to theaters because of all the memes. And then it bombed again, because it's just so gloriously shit. Like, I've seen the movie twice at this point, just to make sure it was what I thought it was the first time. In my opinion, it actually changed on second watch, and it got a little worse. Morbius is such an empty, nothing movie. It has so little to offer outside of the ironic enjoyment people have come to garner from it just sucking so much. It's appropriate that it released on April Fool's Day. The effects are probably the most competent thing about it, and they're the most standard CG effects. Boilerplate, nothing special about them, you've seen a million times. The plot is incomprehensible and bland. It feels like an unfinished movie. There's no good reason to watch it, which is upsetting to me, considering I've seen it twice. But the thing that really gets me is that this movie, I don't think it would be as much of a joke as it is now if it weren't so serious. Like, it tries to be cool. It really tries to be an awesome superhero movie. But it feels like a bad superhero movie from, like, the early 2000s. Like the Halle Berry Catwoman or the Ben Affleck Daredevil. But it's 2022, and it's just insane how, like, shallow and shitty everything is. I can't even understand the relationship between characters. Like, I don't understand the friendship that Michael Morbius has with Milo, or whatever the hell his name is, Matt Smith, who, by the way, was, like, the only actor who seemed like he gave a single shit. That hilarious dance scene that's become the have sass meme at this point. That's unironically my favorite part of the movie, because I can tell he's having a good time. He has, like, a penchant for horror camp. We kind of demonstrated this with Last Night in Soho, too. But honestly, it's just... I know I've barely really spoken about the movie, but there's nothing to say. It fucking stinks. It's a terrible, bloodless, passionless, regurgitated, like, spit up on the baby bib of Hollywood kind of movie. It's just so empty and nothing. I'm actually not going to spend the rest of this review talking about it. I've got... How much time do I have left? I've got like a minute and 15 seconds. I'm going to talk about other movies that I'm not going to do a whole Race the Ramen on, because I don't have a ton to say, that are better than Morbius, that came out this year that you should see instead. Rapid fire. RRR. Great Indian movie on Netflix. Fantastic action movie. Two great leads. Came out of fucking nowhere. Super exciting. I'm watching it again right now. Awesome. It's a 3-hour action movie that's probably maybe even better than the new Batman, which is also great. Go watch The Northman. That's a movie that bombed, and I haven't talked about, but that movie's fantastic. Robert Eggers' new big studio thing didn't do so great. That's a great character study and a great action movie, too. Marvelous in the Black Hole. Nice little like independent feature debut from someone who used to work on Steven Universe. And that movie was kind of rickety in some places, but still like a pretty solid time. Like a misfit teen finding meaning with like a stage magician. And it felt like a first feature with some, off things, but it was still fucking better than Morbius. I think a swift kick in the nuts would be better than Morbius. It's so insane how nothing Morbius is. I'm struggling to fill time in a review about it where I barely talk about it at all. Hopefully that gives you a decent impression of what I think of the movie. I feel like I don't even really know why I'm making this video, other than to just put my little official, throw my hat in the ring of spitting on Morbius while it's lying on the ground beaten. It's like satisfying to me, personally, to see that Morbius has failed so hard. Because this idea clearly didn't have much passion behind it. There could be someone out there who could make the Morbius character interesting and make a good movie out of it, but they didn't do that. It's Jared Leto being the same pretty mediocre actor and huge asshole on set that he's pretty much always been. And the rest of it is just nothing. It is white noise, unfinished and uncooked plot elements, and just stuff that you've seen before in other movies splatted out there. It feels like a movie generated by AI. And I have absolutely no real love in my heart for it at all. I hope no one really does. The memes are hilarious, but that's all you can really get out of it. I give Morbius, starring Jared Leto, a 2 out of 10. I realize that this review was like really unstructured, even compared to a lot of other Race the Ramens, which in general is already a unscripted show. But I just don't know what else to say. Morbius just feels like something that shouldn't have been released at all. It feels like an unfinished edit based on an unfinished script with unfinished visuals. And they just released it and expected us to love it, which just isn't happening. You gotta put in a little bit, and I mean, like, emphasize this, the tiniest bit of effort to make something like this take off, and it just really does not feel like you did at all. Morbius? I can't think of a film I'd rather ignore Morbius. I gotta go to the bathroom right now. Morbius? I'd rather leave this room and piss. Morbius? I can't think of a film that's more BS.